Alright guys, welcome to RC Mojo. Today we're going to sort out the front drive shafts on the Jimny. But first, a word from me, as we don't actually have any sponsors. The Servo Tester is now available in limited quantity on the 74hc.co.uk store. Limited quantity being 4. But if they sell out, I've got the material to put together a few more. I'll stick a link in the description. Right, back to the Jimny. One of the things I noticed when I first powered up the chassis was the front drive shafts bind just a little bit with the suspension at full droop and the steering at full lock. You could probably lower the chassis or reduce the steering throw to lessen the drive shaft angle, but if anything the truck really needs more steering and ride height. Okay, a test. You can hear the nice smooth sound of the running drivetrain start to stutter when we go to full lock with the steering. If we remove one of the hub assemblies, there's only a couple of screws to take out, and undo the kingpins we can get at the stub axle and driveshaft. As the suspension and steering move, the pin runs back and forth in its slot. A very simple and effective design, but if the angle is too great, the driveshaft will catch on the edges of the cup. You can see on the shaft where it started to wear already. That's with relatively little use at very low speed. Not the end of the world, as replacement parts are nice and cheap, but I think we can do better. There's another type of joint called the CVD, Constant Velocity Driveshaft, or more usually in the full-size world a CVJ, Constant Velocity Joint. A good CVD has a few advantages over the usual joint, but the one we're interested in is usually in the RC world a CVD will run at a greater angle before binding. These GPM ones aren't of the highest quality, but they look solid enough and they're pretty cheap. I'm thinking with the light weight of the chassis and the low RPM we run at, they're going to be plenty good enough. As far as fitting, they're a direct drop-in replacement. The axle is a nice fit in the bearings, which is nice. The hub goes back together just as when we first built the truck, and it gets refitted to the chassis. One little issue that shows up now, the drive shaft appears to be just ever so slightly too long. When you compress the suspension more than a little, there's a small amount of resistance, like a spring. What's happening is as the suspension goes up, the drive shaft moves in the inner drive cup and is compressing the O-ring quite a bit. Not a huge deal, it means the CVD will wear a bit due to the side loads. If the shaft was a fraction of a millimetre shorter, it wouldn't be a problem at all though. I suppose you could remove the O-ring altogether. It's not strictly needed anymore since the drive shaft won't float around. Right, that's both the CVDs installed, let's have a little test. Well, that's much better. Assuming they last a while, that's a nice little upgrade. The Jimny can now run full lock to lock without getting the shakes. Nice. A much happier little truck. And I'm afraid that's about it for this week. Only a short video, but there's only so much you can say about drive shafts without turning it into an engineering lecture. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. If you like the video, don't forget that like button, and if you're not already, do please subscribe. It's free after all. Bye guys.